If you have a used car right now, you need a sinking fund for it. My car's AC just went out and it sucks. Let's get to it. What's up, YouTube? I'm Debt Free Joel. On today's video, we're going to talk about the ways that you need to make sure you have a sinking fund for your used car. Yep, yours. If you're a car person like me, you understand that there's going to be a good chance something's going to go wrong with your car. And today's story time, because I had something go wrong with my car. If you're new to this channel is dedicated to one thing and one thing only, which is to make you more money. Whether it be through saving, whether it be through investing, but most importantly, whether it be to giving to others. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Do you know what's worse than having no car in the summer? It's having a car with no air conditioning. You basically should just leave it home. Well, that's what happened to me. Over the last few years, my AC in my car has been a little such and such. Now, I'll put somewhere in this video what my car looks like, and I enjoy driving my car. And for those of you who have a Dodge, who have a MOPAR or no car, that's how we do on this channel. But anyway, my car's AC went out and it sucked. It was hot. It was 80 degrees and humid, and that V8 engine was blowing hot air into the car. It sucked. And it reminded me of a reason why I have sinking funds for my cars. It's because when you have a used car, there's going to be things that went wrong with it. Let me just go through the things that have gone wrong with this car over the last 10 years. There's been an electrical problem in terms of the power steering. The power steering went out 3 times. The alternator went out twice. The battery started leaking in the trunk. I can't make this up. Some of the wires were singed as if they melted. We took it to the dealership and the dealership looked at it and was like, we don't understand how your car can be like this. Something's wrong with the sunroof. The Bluetooth in the car, which is fantastic, cuts out when it wants to. I cannot make this up. And the car has overheated at least twice. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, why the hell do you still have that car? Well, if I did bring up the video where you saw, or at least a picture of what my car looks like, you understand. It's a Dodge Charger 5.7 liter V8 2011, 395 foot-pounds of torque, 370 horsepower V8 muscle MOPAR. And in this day and age, you're not going to get those type of cars. But here's the reason why you really need an emergency fund, or at least a sinking fund for your car. All jokes aside, it's because things are going to happen. Today I had to go pick up my car to get it fixed for the air conditioning, and God bless, it wasn't that expensive. I think it was around 300 and something because the sensor in the window went out. It just happens. But for example, if I wasn't debt free, if I didn't have an emergency fund, if I didn't have a sinking fund for my car, this would be a little bit different. If I had to swipe my credit card and now I have to figure out a way to pay off that car or pay off the card at the end of the month, that would really suck. That's why I'm coming to you guys for this video. I'm showing you a practical application from my perspective as to why you should have a sinking fund for your car, especially if it's used. Think about all the things that can go wrong. You just had a car that you bought, let's say 5 or 6 years ago, and you finally paid it off. What do you think is gonna happen? Right? That's when things start to break on the car. That's when you're gonna need to redo the brakes and the transmission and the, whether it's gonna be an oil leak, whether it's gonna be a transmission leak, God forbid, whether it's going to be the radiator leak, whether it's gonna be the alternator, power steering fluid, something electric in the car. Something always goes wrong with cars, especially if it's a used one. Now, in my opinion, a used car that's paid off is always going to be better than something you're gonna have to pay for. Okay, now you have the extreme, circumstances where you buy a lemon, right, where the car is not good. But for the most part of your budget every single month, if you have a used car, should go to a sinking fund for your car's repairs, oils change, whatever it is. So for me, let's say for example, I put $50 or $100 every month towards this sinking fund. Well, that's the first line of defense when something goes wrong with my car. When something goes wrong, I go to that bank account and I take money out first. And if I deplete that bank account, then I go into my emergency savings to cover the rest. The goal is to fix your car that's debt-free, right? You don't want to be swiping your credit card and have to pay it back over the next 6 years because you couldn't afford it. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you have to borrow from your spouse, borrow from your friends, right? The goal is to maintain your debt-free lifestyle, or the goal is to not add any more debt than you need to. So like I said, one of the worst experiences that I went through was not having an air conditioning in my car. And in fact, my first car that I ever had was a Mazda RX-7, 1986. No, I was not an adult at 1986. I just happened to have a neighbor who had that car, and I loved it. That car had no power steering, the speedometer didn't work, and it had no air conditioning. Now, when you're that age and you're running around at 20 years old or whatever, you don't care, right? You don't care. You'll drive the car at night because it doesn't have air conditioning. But when you're about to approach 40 years old, the last thing you want to be doing is sweating in your car with leather seats. I'm just being honest. So, in short, this is why you have an emergency fund for your car. It's because specifically, older cars, or at least the older your car gets, the more likely you're going to have fixed repairs. For example, my neighbor right now is doing all this necessary banging at your house because right now she's doing repairs. See what I'm saying? You can have a sinking fund for anything. The house, the car, whether it's going to be for medical expenses, whatever the case is. That's the whole point of having sinking funds, is to get ahead of anything that could go wrong that probably is going to go wrong. That's my advice. That is my ultimate advice for all of you car heads, for all the people who like cars like me, for all the people who like those V8 engines, those big body cars. Have a sinking fund for those type of cars, because guess what? As much as you like them, you're gonna have to do some repairs. And that's it. That's my time. Thank you for taking some time out to watch the video today. If you like these type of videos, cool. Click the like and subscribe button. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. It's the same name as YouTube, @DebtFreeJoel. We put a ton of information on there about saving, about investing, and most importantly, about being charitable. So until next time, remember, you got food at home.